So I'm planting my first batch of peas, and I'm pretty pleased with the way they've gone actually. They've grown nicely. I pretty much do all my planting just with my fingers when I can get away with it, especially when I'm doing such a small quantity. I can just find that I can make a hole with my fingers exactly the size of the module, and I'm using a slightly bigger module for these peas than I normally do. This is a 24 cell, and normally I'll be using a 40 cell tray, which is kind of my favourite because I basically just want one cell size for everything, where I can get away with it. So I can't quite reach there, and I'm going to have to put some in right on this edge. I didn't quite get my spacings perfect, but again, I just space everything by hand, by eye rather, so I'll leave those. So I think that's about it. The ground is very soggy, and you can see that I'm using this fleece, and I'll show you it in a minute. It's really nice. It's much better than the ordinary fleece that you might use, because it's so much more robust, and I think that it looks as if it lets more light in as well than the ordinary fleece does, but at the same time it's probably not quite as warm, because there are kind of holes in it. But I think one of the nice things about it is it does let the water in really well, and that's one of the problems I find with the kind of woven fleece, is that it's only kind of semi-permeable, I guess, to water, and a lot of the water runs off it or pools on it, and those pools kind of push down on the plants, and I don't like my plants being pushed down on. I know some people, Charles Downing for example, is a big proponent of just laying fleece on top of plants, but I don't do that. What I like to do is I just use these little pegs, and I'll show you those in a minute. They're really great. Basically they're landscape fabric pegs, and they're rubbish for landscape fabric, I find. I really dislike them for that purpose, but I bought a couple of packs of them, so I've probably got about, 60 or so, and as I said, I found they were really rubbish for the landscape fabric. They were just really difficult to push through, and they didn't hold particularly well in the ground, but I really like them as kind of just little plant supports. They just take the pressure off the plants, and you can see with these peas that I planted a couple of days ago that they're not being pushed down at all. They've been allowed to grow just great, and these were leggy, these ones, but just because the weather's been so bad I didn't really want to put them out. I never really bother hardening things off when I'm going to put them under fleece, assuming that the fleece provides just enough protection for them so that they can adapt, and it seems to work. But I do try to choose my days, so today is going to be quite nice. And this is my first real planting outside. I've done some more peas in a cold frame, but these are the first ones that are kind of truly exposed to the elements. And I have some lettuces that I'll be planting out in a couple of weeks' time, also under fleece. But other than that, I'm kind of holding on. I've got some beetroot that need to go out into a cold frame probably next week, But everything, all my cold frames have all got things in them, so I'm not in a mad kind of rush to switch over to something new. And that's quite nice, not being in that rush. It lets you kind of wait until the right time to do things, rather than being kind of tempted by your desperation to get something planted, which otherwise would definitely apply to me, because I really like planting things. So hopefully I'll have just about enough if I've done my calculations correctly. And this bed next to me here is also going to be peas for shoots, just a kind of succession that's running slightly further behind. I mean, strictly speaking, you don't really need successions, it's just I don't have enough space to start anymore, so I've had to start them off in kind of phases, and I wanted to get them out of the way before I need the space to start all my other early crops. Nice to see quite a lot of worms coming up while I'm doing this, because we only recently put this bed in, so the fact that there's worms in it already is kind of quite encouraging, really. And we laid the bed down on top of the turf. So these peas are all alderman, and alderman is kind of my current favourite for this purpose. But I've got some alternatives that Jerry from Grow Seed has given me from his own stock, which apparently are really good. So now I'm just going to put these little landscape fabric pegs in, and basically I just put them in between the plants like this. Of course, it doesn't really matter that these peas are slightly leggy, although just aesthetically I would prefer them to look a little bit more like the ones on the other side there. But they are fine. So that's everything pegged up. I've actually got a few spare here, so I'll just peg up this other side here, I think. Just a little bit more. And then when I do the next batch, which will be a couple of weeks' time, I might take these pegs out, but I might not, because I think I've got enough for that next bed, and as I move down I'll gradually take the pegs out. So as you can see, I use these clips, and I find them brilliant for this job. Just hold things really nice and taut, but they're also really quick to apply. Kind of fold them round a bit. Hopefully you can see just how nice a job these little pegs do of supporting everything. And there we go.